Welcome to bANTer with Debbie. It's a Friday again, 1 o'clock, and another week's madness. Well,
Is it
we
a
say it
week,
every
really?
week.
Is it
I
really a
know.
week?
I don't know how
Do
we
you know
managed
what?
to
It's
squeeze
less
things
than
in, to
2
be
weeks
honest.
to Christmas now. Can you believe it? Where did December go? I mean, we're going to be 2026 in a couple of weeks. Mad.
It was Christmas 2020, a blink of an eye ago for me.
No, don't we
And
remember
that was an exciting
Christmas?
period, wasn't it? 2020.
Wasn't it? And you know what? It's interesting you say that because I think, we are nearly 6 years down the line from when all of this chaos kicked off with
I can't
COVID.
believe that.
And I think people are starting to lose sight of it. And I've always said, book burning was the past, but now the politicians and all of the official stuff, most of it's on Zoom or on a cloud somewhere or in a Google document, and we're never going to know what happened. We must be careful not to have forgotten what we went through, because will the British buy into it? I mean, I know you're going to come onto it in a minute, and people will buy into it again, but we mustn't forget we're nearly 2026, we're coming up 6 years.
I know.
6 years is mad. Don't forget it.
Things like what happened in 2020 and 9/11 should never be forgotten either. What happened there, all these big events, they can't, like you say, digital book burning is a real thing, real thing. So we must, because this is why Lou and I are writing a book at the moment on that 2020 period, because it's going to be crucial that things are in paper. We've even said once the book is finished, we'll get it in a time capsule and we'll bury it. Because
I think that's such a great idea. No, time capsules, I've been talking to people about time capsules because I really do think even more so because I heard one of the political pundits talking, and they were saying, when people did things back along, they wrote things down. They wrote their diaries, they wrote memoirs, they wrote their biographies, they wrote all of these things. Now, nobody's writing anything, not and publishing it. So for the last 5 years, I have been collecting books specifically on this period of history so that, one day, hopefully, someone will find them and they'll be as valuable then as they are now, because you do have to write it down. So when's this book being published then, Anne?
Well, I did a first draft this year, and we both read it and realized it needed more, to be honest with you. So Lou is literally going through it bit by bit and rewriting with more depth. And I would imagine it's going to be another year, Debbie, to be honest, because it is a lot. And Lou doesn't want to put it out there until it's right, and that makes sense. So it's going to be a big book, to be honest with you, but it's going to be full of truth.
Oh, I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait.
I mean, every day while I'm working, with my clients, I'll be sat at the kitchen table working, and Lou will be writing, and she'll be in tears, Debbie, with what happened, the realization of that happened, and we lived through this and we lived through that, and it can't be forgotten. It's huge, and I know people want to get on with their lives. I understand that, but forgetting stuff like this is just walking us into more tyrannical nonsense. Hence why we're at this stage now with digital ID. We can't forget what they've been doing, because it's too dangerous for humanity. It's too dangerous.
I mean, as you know, I do a little 7 stories in 7 minutes every night.
Yes.
And one coming up in the next couple of days. Normally I can record them within the first 2 and I don't have a struggle. But this one I called Kids, and it's coming up in the next couple of days. And I started it off and then I ended up in tears halfway through. And then by the time I'd wiped away my tears and composed myself, then I got angry and I was too aggressive and too angry. So I had to scrub that. Then I started again and I was crying. And it really did hit me hard, because at the end of the day, hi Raoul, yay. But at the end of the day, everything that we're doing, for me anyway, is for my kids and my grandkids, because I'm looking at future generations and I'm thinking we have to give our children a chance. I don't want to be the granny that did nothing. I want my grandchildren and my children to turn around and go, if nothing else, mum tried to do her bit. And we've all got a little bit to give. It might only be a little bit, but whatever it is so valuable, because collectively we're all together. So it's the kids for me. And you know, when the whole COVID thing started, I thought, right, when they go for the kids, people are going to wake up. You know, they're never people are never ever going to let this happen, and they didn't. People did not wake up, and I just, it was at that point that I thought, right, now is even a bigger fight for the kids and for humanity moving forward. Full stop. Transhumanism.
100%. This is the big picture, really. You know, and yeah, Debbie. So we've got a load of news again to try and get through, and you'll be happy to know you'll. I'm sure I'll have plenty to say on this matter, but the flu is back.
Flown back. It had, you see, it had, well, you've got to give it some due, and it had a year, nearly 18 months annual leave when COVID arrived.
Yeah, it disappeared then. You know, it's quite amazing. So did terrorism as well. Yeah. Funnily enough, there were no terrorists then. Interesting, isn't it? What COVID? I can't imagine why terrorists were frightened of COVID, but there you go. That's clearly what happened.
Funny old world,
isn't it? So, good morning, Britain announced the flu.
4 hospitals in England have declared critical incidents as a result of the record-breaking flu admissions.
I don't know what's happened there. Can you see?
I can see our banter with Debbie, but I can't see.
Yeah, let's stop that. We've got a bit of a technical thing going on there. Let me put that back on.
Tech hitch. We love tech hitches. Then you know we're live, folks. Ask us some questions.
4 hospitals in England have declared critical incidents as a result of the record-breaking flu admissions. Face masks have also been made compulsory at some sites. Our senior correspondent, Jonathan Swain, is at Bristol's Southmead Hospital. So, Jonathan, people arriving there today are being asked to take extra precautions.
I wanted to get you, this strike could not become, or talk of a strike could not become at a worse time, because the NHS leaders are talking about a very nasty strain of flu that is going around this winter, and NHS staff, particularly here as well, are encouraging patients when they arrive to wear a mask. Staff in the A&E department here are also being encouraged to wear a mask. It's getting back to those times during COVID, because they are seeing a terrible strain of flu, and hospitals here at Southmead are making precautions. They are having enhanced infection controls in place. A flu ward has been set up. Just want to show the ambulances here as well. Now it's a little bit quieter here. Inside, they've had a lot of people arriving overnight. Very, very busy. Let's just look at the numbers nationally, shall we, and just show how bad this flu outbreak is at the moment, because more than 1,700 hospital beds a day were taken up with flu patients every day last week. That's 50% higher than the same time last year, and more than 10 times higher than the same week in 2023. So the talks are ongoing. Will there be a strike? Won't there? This is what the public think.
I think they should go into hospitals to help with the super flu.
I think it's an essential service, and I think it should be above any sort of strikes.
They should go on strike because they're putting themselves at risk.
They've studied for so long, they've travelled from their families, they're also at risk, so they should be paid more.
So you have the politics on one side, all the talks are going on there. Then you also have the virus as well, which seems to be spreading at the moment. At hospitals around the country, as you say, some have declared critical incidents. And of course, we're all, though, being encouraged to wear face masks if you do show any symptoms of flu.
Woohoo!
Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you want.
Right, so you know what? I knew it. We get this every single year. It's really bad flu. It's really bad flu. However, I have never known anything like this push for flu jabs. I can't tell you how many texts, despite opting out and telling the surgery, do not send me texts, telling the NHS, don't send me texts. Get your flu jab, get your flu jab. And one of the areas that they've been targeting most is schools. So kids have been getting flu mists. You know, in my day, when I was when I was nursing, people that had flu jabs were over 65 or vulnerable. Nobody else was entitled to a flu jab. Nobody needed a flu jab. And you know, you're suddenly seeing this huge super strain of flu. And yet, how many of those people have had mRNA jabs? For COVID, how many have had sorry, not Shigella, shingles jabs? How many have had RSV jabs? How many have had flu jabs? How many are on skinny jabs? People are on so many different things. Everyone now has had something different in a different quantity. Did you have 1 Moderna, 2 Pfizer? Did you have a booster for flu? You know, it's just a mess. So I can see what's coming up is disease X, because we've got all of these things flying around. And what did they say? Flu ward? I mean, honestly, are you serious? Flu ward? I mean, what hospitals are they talking about? We're meant to be shrinking hospitals anyway. They don't want people in hospitals, and yet they're telling everybody to wear a mask. And did you see him, that reporter, holding his mask in his grubby little hand after he'd been playing with his phone? I mean, and then he's talking about the strikes. Well, apparently, according to the news today, apparently Wes Streeting is putting a new offer down for the doctors. As far as my take on the doctors, my take on flu, first of all, is we get bad flu every single year. And let's not forget Hong Kong flu back in what, 1968, 1969? I think it killed 80,000 people. We didn't have a school lockdown. We didn't have anywhere locked down. Hospitals were full. There were no masks being used. I mean, you know, it was but you know, vulnerable people sadly die every year from flu. That is a statistic. If you have got an elderly or a very sick patient who suddenly goes down with a nasty flu and they end up with a pneumonia or whatever, then, you know, sadly, many people do die every year of flu. It's just a standard. And yes, garlic, ginger, turmeric, you know, all of these amazing herbal remedies are exactly what you should do. Flu wards, well, I don't even want to go there. When it comes to the doctors' strikes, what I will say is I think the doctors are turkeys at Christmas, because China, as Trump would say. China. If anybody thinks there's anything good going on in China, I'm sure there are good things, but China is a place to watch. So if anybody tells you otherwise, think differently. But in China, they've opened the first AI hospital that's manned by robots and chatbots.
Lovely.
So it's an AI hospital. So I think the doctors, I think they're greedy, and I think they're turkeys at Christmas. But what I would say is when they do go on strike, if they go on strike, because they've now got a new deal on the table, if they go on strike, I always think it's a far more efficient hospital when the junior doctors are on strike, because you've got consultants that come in, and the consultants can take the decisions very early on. So you don't get people piled up in A&E. The consultant will come along and they'll either say discharge or they'll say admit. And there's none of this faffing around trying to get an answer of whether you should validate that patient's admission. So actually, you know, whilst there might not be so many bodies on the ground in a hospital, you've got a heck of a lot more experience and a heck of a lot more accountability and decision makers on the ground. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And I think junior doctors, you need to go back to work and not keep punishing the public.
Agreed. And flu has always been around, apart from 2020, which it disappeared completely, which was incredible. There was no flu cases then, but
I've had it this year already. I've
been really ill this year. And my lad was ill and my missus was ill, and you know, I sweated it out. I spent 2 days in bed sweating it out.
That's what do you know what? That's what blimmin' cheeses me off about this whole damned agenda. You know, they're saying, wear masks, don't go out with flu. Excuse me, you can't go out with flu. You feel so rotten. You know, real flu is a temperature. Real flu is you feel wiped out, you've got aches and pains. It doesn't have to be sneezes. It could be a sore throat. It can be you're coughing a lot. You feel wiped out. The last thing you want to do is go out. The best thing for flu is all your natural remedies, plenty of vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, turmeric, ginger, honey, and stay in the warm, plenty of fluids, TLC. You know, people, the government think we're stupid. Stay in, protect the NHS. We've got to lock everybody up. People that are that sick, that are feeling that sick with genuine influenza, and I've had it, so I know, you're wiped out. You can't get off the settee or can't get out of bed for a few days. It's ridiculous.
You can't.
Ridiculous.
It is. But this is the thing, that it's all about nanny state stuff, isn't it? That we have to be told how to live our lives every second of the day. You know, this is the whole point of what they're doing. And I'm sick to the bloody back teeth of it, being told what to do by corporate bloody corrupt suits in Westminster. Do one. I'm not interested. You know, it's just ridiculous. Did you see the propaganda though, Debbie?
Propaganda.
Go on. You say propaganda.
No,
the BBC.
No, well, before you say that, I was just going to say hospitals today have been built. They're like Petri dishes. You can't open the windows. You can't get.
I know.
They're filthy, dirty. They're full of rubbish. I mean, they're dirty places. They're like Petri dishes anyway. So, you know, the old-fashioned hospitals where you had windows open, etc., was great. But
well, this is it. I was going to say that about windows. You know, they don't want you getting fresh air, but you need the fresh air. You know, the fact that
of course you do.
When the cold weather and you've got the radiators on and you're in and out of the cold and this, that, and the other, but fresh air is crucial.
We had when I went. I did quite a bit of work at Bart's, and I worked at Great Ormond Street for a while, and I also worked at Stoke Mandeville, way back. And we used to wheel the patients out into the grounds at Stoke Mandeville. We used if it was a nice day, we'd wheel them out. At Great Ormond Street, you had balconies, and the babies and the children were always out on these covered balconies. They were very well protected, but they were out on the balconies. My mum said when I was a baby in a pram, I was at the bottom of the garden. She said she saw the snowflakes hit my nose. You know, it builds up your immune system. You need fresh air, you need ventilation. Otherwise, you've got you've got a building that's just harboring infection. They're like Petri dishes, like cruise ships, the same.
Yeah. Let me play this propaganda for you. Yeah, let me play it for you.
Hospitals have declared a critical incident, partly because of the number of flu cases putting those pressures on. And we know that up in the northeast, this isn't the only hospital that has introduced the mask wearing and, of course, that washing of hands that we have been talking about. So the message is, if you're coming into hospitals, please do wash your hands, wear the mask, because then you're going to stop the spread and hopefully reduce the pressure that is being put on services. Look, we know that some people can present with mild symptoms, and bosses here are saying you may have mild symptoms, but if you pass it on to somebody who's vulnerable, that's going to possibly cause more problems. So mask wearing, hand washing, and those figures coming out later today are going to give a true picture of what is going on, but everybody can do their bit to try to prevent the spread for hospitals.
There you go.
Oh, I just honestly, it's I either want to burst out laughing to it because it's the biggest, but it's scary because you see they're rolling out exactly the same agenda that they did for COVID. People have been saying, oh, we'll never buy into it again. People will never. Yeah, they are. And did you see? Yeah, and Cheeky Sprite says, you know, she's touching the mask. You know, they put it in their grubby little hands. It doesn't make sense. I've seen people with masks under their noses. I saw a bloke the other day. He was in a convertible car and the lid was down and he's on his own in the car and he's got a mask on. What?
I know. I was in town earlier on, and there was a guy walking past me with a mask on, and we're starting to see it now. So unfortunately, if they watch the BBC and they pick up the newspapers and they're not looking behind that, then it's all they know, and they're being told how to live their lives, aren't they?
Oh, it's all sad, rolling really out again, and I just feel like saying people. I mean, not people that are watching us now, but everyone else out there, like, don't do it again. You know, this is to hide people's identities. This is David Hughes has done an amazing series recently called COVID Cult and Totalitarianism and the COVID Cult. And he was specifically talking about the rituals and the history behind masks. And people need to wake up because, yes, we are going to see people with masks under their chin.
Grubby, dirty ones that they've worn for about a year.
Yeah, and then they're going to stuff them in their pockets, or they're going to put it in their glove box or on the dashboard of their car, or it's going to fly out, hit the car park, and then they'll pick it up and stick it back on them. It's ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous. I believe in the Catalonia region, 7.8 million homes have gone under a mask mandate in all hospitals, health centres and nursing homes.
Yes, Spain have come down very heavy, very, very heavy. And the rest of Europe is going to. I mean, it's just... I spoke to somebody close to me a couple of days ago who said, I'm pleased I've kept my lanyards, because they were using they were using the lanyards to say that they were mask exempt. And you know, even having to use those are bad enough. But if you do want a bit of confidence, and I think it does give confidence if you've just got something around your neck. I know that a lot of people don't like it, but it gives you a bit of confidence. And we just have to say no. What is so difficult, Ant, about NO?
It's the way we're conditioned and programmed from birth, really, to just conform and accept and trust. And that we've got apathy in this country. So if we think that something's wrong, generally we think somebody's going to fix it for us. So we struggle to step forward a little bit, I think. And we're going to have to.
Yeah.
Now with what's happening now, we're going to have to. We've literally got no choice. So people are going to have to say no and stand up and say no. And
you're going to be doing that, aren't you? You're going to be doing that at the weekend, standing up and saying no. I hear a little birdie told me.
Yeah, I'll be in London tomorrow, and I'll be saying no as loudly as I possibly can.
Well done.
It's it's one of those. I'm not a big protester, Debbie, as such, but I want to show my face and support that, and hopefully it will grow and grow and grow up and down the country, and people. It's about awareness at this stage, really. I think it's about people knowing what's going on, because I don't think people realise what digital ID is about. I think they will believe what the press tells them and what the Prime Minister is saying. That's what they'll believe, and it really isn't. This is a boiling frog moment in the pan, and we're very close to boiling point, unfortunately. So yeah. we've all got to, we've all got responsibility now, Debbie, all of us that know what's going on to try and not only say no, but to try and make people aware. And I know people don't want to listen. I get that. It's very hard. I know people don't want to listen, and people might fall out. We've been through all that in 2020. I understand. But we've got to be very careful that we don't sit back and expect that everything's going to be okay.
I think that's the big problem. I think that's one of the big problems, is that people are expecting someone to come in and save us. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Trump?
Donald Trump?
Yeah, everybody thinks Donald Trump's coming in to save us, and he so isn't. I mean, Donald Trump, if anything, is going to destroy us even further, and is destroying us. So we have to do it ourselves. And I really think that we need to get rid of our phones, our phones, our mobile phones. I'm not saying people need to get rid of communication, but get rid of the mobile and make it immobile. Try to treat your mobile phone like a landline, like we did as a landline when we were younger, so that, there was quite a lot of freedom, really. I mean, I used to go out as a teenager, 14, 15, and once I was out the door, my mum had no clue. She had to trust me that I would be behaving myself, but she didn't know where I was. She couldn't get hold of me. There were no interruptions. And I think if we could just now start to ease back, just dial it back a little bit with mobiles, make them immobile, don't go out with them, because then if you do get stopped, you don't get your phone seized because you haven't got it on you. So, you know, at the end of the day, and I keep saying, do you really want to walk around with your family jewels in your pocket, your inheritances, your jewelry, all your details of your financial, your bank accounts, your medical details, your photographs, your private letters, your private correspondence? You know, would you really go out to Tesco's with all of that in your pocket? No, you wouldn't. But if you put your phone in your pocket, all of that information is there. And it, you know, my phone has recently been hacked, and I said to a friend, what do I do? Do I go to the good old-fashioned yellow pages and look for a phone unhacker? You know, how do you get your phone unhacked? So if your phone has been hacked, or if there's been a cyber outage and your data's been lost or whatever, somebody just lost 70,000 at the Nationwide. You know, the Nationwide lost £70,000 of their money. It disappeared for 2 weeks. No one had any idea where it had gone. So if everything's going to be on your phone and you're going to put it in your pocket and then you're going to lose it, or it's going to get stolen or whatever, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know why people are falling for this, aside the fact that it's going to save them a few minutes and it's convenient. But I don't even think it's convenient, because you have to use all these stupid apps and talk to robots and chatbots, when actually all you want to do is to speak to a human and find out the... And you know, could you tell me, please, could you stop my direct debit? As simple as that. Oh no, you've got to go through the app. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. It's not convenient at all. It's actually very frustrating and puts a lot of people into states of anxiety where they literally want to throw their phone out of the window.
Yeah, they don't care. There's people making lots of money out of this, Debbie, and there's people that are losing jobs, which is making lots of money for other people. You know, they're just they don't give them monkeys. They don't care. You know, communities are going to have to grow out of this madness, I think, and start trading with each other again, and start bartering and working together again, because the big man that's running, or thinks he's running the show, you know, it's gone too far. It's gone too far. It's beyond ridiculous. So, however, speaking of Big Brother, though, we have the Home Office announcing this week that we are to have facial recognition up and down the country. Well,
be safe, Ant. It's to keep you safe.
Of course it is.
A tool for fighting crime or a threat to privacy. Whatever you think of facial recognition, it could be coming to a street near you. Under new proposals, ministers want cameras dotted across the country. They trigger an alert when they spot a suspect. They'd be linked to an image database of wanted people. And all this would be overseen by a watchdog, ensuring human rights are respected.
I think if we don't use it, we're not making the best use of a limited resource, and artificial intelligence is here to stay. We need to embrace it. We need to make sure we use it effectively and ensure that the police are using it in a way that's transparent and open, and is open to scrutiny.
The Metropolitan Police has been using the tech for 2 years. It was deployed at Notting Hill Carnival this year. The force says it's helped to make 1,300 arrests, including rapists and violent criminals. It's also been reported police could be granted access to people's passports via the national database. That's got human rights groups worried that the proposals are too vague and the risks too great.
We want the police to have to get independent authorization to use the technology. We want to make sure that people can only be put on watch lists for good, legitimate reasons. And we also think it's important that the public know when the technology is being used on their streets so that they can make informed decisions.
The government has now launched a 10-week consultation. They want to ask the public what the safeguards should be and just how safe they'd really feel. Jay Akbar, Good Morning Britain.
You know, I was in Preston yesterday. We're doing a bit of Christmas shopping, and Home Bargains in Preston has a poster on the front door. You know, where they have these cardboard cutouts of the policeman as you're going into the store. Right next to that is a big poster now that says they're using facial recognition in the store.
Did you go in?
Yeah, but I'm gonna put a DSAR in, I think. and,
Well,
say what.
You should absolutely put a DSAR in, because when you put a DSAR in, they have to, it takes them so much time to scroll through footage and look for all sorts of data, or find your name written down or whatever. But I've been looking into these, mirrored sunglasses, and I think they say they're not sure if they do screw up the facial recognition, but I think, you know what, anything's worth a try. Anything is worth a try.
Well,
but they can't. They have to tell you. Sheffield have started deploying police facial recognition cameras in high streets. So I think it was Sheffield, Manchester, and London police have all been using them.
They're up and down the country. They've been doing it anyway, and I'm pretty sure it's unlawful, GDPR and everything else. And people, it's all right saying, we need to know. If you're walking around the street, how are you not complying with that anyway? You're just walking around the street. And not to put you off regarding your the sunglasses, but these cameras, this one that says it's reads emotions and studies the way you talk. They are capable. The technology is out there, basically, that is more than capable of recognizing individuals without seeing their faces, because they know people will wear burqas or face masks. So they've already got the technology to get around all of that. And it's quite frightening times, really, because once this is connected to a centralized digital ID biometric system that's connected to your money and your benefits and everything else, literally everything about your is micromanaged. Every minute of your day is micromanaged.
Your
by
AI. Digital twin. They make a twin of you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're aware. Swilliamism on YouTube he's really, really good. For anybody that hasn't watched him, you need to watch him. He's really good. But he was looking at facial recognition, because of course there isn't just live facial recognition. There's retrospective facial recognition, and then there's operator something recognition as well. So there's 3 sorts of recognition. So if you've got the facial recognition vans in the street, they're there to warn you. It's a kind of sign. However, there's all of these hidden facial recognition cameras. So he was looking at Scotland Yard, for example, and other public buildings, and he was seeing cameras. So he went into Scotland Yard, but Scotland Yard is actually guarded by private security, which is really bizarre. But he was sent to Charing Cross police station, and he said, could you please tell me what those cameras are on Scotland Yard? Are they facial recognition cameras? And if so, can you please tell me who the data controller is? Because whenever there are cameras, whether it's a camera on HSBC Bank in the city, or whether it's on the Rothschilds Bank, every time you've got facial recognition cameras and CCTV, there has to be a data controller. And if they don't put somewhere that this is the data controller, it's breaking the law. So he was saying to Scotland Yard, what are these cameras that you've got on the side of your building? Because, of course, the digital ID protest went past Scotland Yard.
Yeah, it did.
So he wanted to know what kind of information was being picked up. He did a really excellent video on it, and it turned out that they were facial recognition cameras. But of course, nobody knows that they're there, because there's no information to suggest that, oh, this is recording you as you're walking past. They're hidden.
I know. Regarding what Cheeky Sprite was asking about, is it facial? Well, not generally, but they certainly are using them. They certainly are.
Sure.
And I'll put a video on in a second where Liverpool are going to be. I think it's this month. I think it's in a couple of days. Actually, they're launching their facial recognitions in the city centre, and I'll put that out in a moment. But this is a real concern, because they've been doing this infrastructure. These smart city infrastructures have been put up since 2020. When people were in lockup and they're locked up, they were creating the cycle lanes, putting these 5G towers up and everything else. But this is all infrastructure for what's happening now. This is the long game. This is the long game.
That's very interesting you say that. And maybe when we talk in the very near future, we might talk about Ericsson, because what Ericsson have been up to, creating your new future and your new future shopping malls, your new future gyms, your new future neighborhood, and how it's all going to be interconnected with facial ID. But this is all going to be for your convenience, and it's all going to be for your safety, and it's all going to be for, you know, for the way forward. So there's nothing bad in this. Of course, there's nothing evil to see here. But yeah, this is the plan. This is the way forward. And if we don't say those two little letters, N and O, if we don't say it collectively, then we're going to find ourselves entrapped into a digital prison.
Indeed, indeed. But did you know as well that the Home Office have admitted that, let's bring that down. Home Office admitted that facial recognition tech issue with Black and Asian subjects. Did you know that?
How convenient.
Calls to review. Yeah, calls for review after technology found to return more false positives. I've heard that false positive statement before as well. So that's something there. And also, it interferes, well, we know this anyway, but it interferes with human rights.
Of course it does.
You know, but the Home Office are admitting this as well. I love the way the Telegraph have a paid section on there. But there you go.
Fantastic.
Yes, yes. But there you go. So they're admitting it, they're putting it out there, but will people care? It's the apathy of this country that's one of the biggest problems that we have, because we just go on with it all and get by. And it's always, you know, we're being looked after. Don't worry.
And that's exactly it. It's the apathy. It's so dangerous. And, you know, just very quickly, I'm just going to throw this in. I know we didn't plan on talking about it, but I was absolutely fascinated because for those of you watching and listening, Ant sent me a picture this week of a hospital sandwich. And when he said that things are happening right in front of your eyes, but we're just not noticing it, it took me back to that moment. Because tell us about your hospital sandwich, and then I'll tell you about my big file, and then I'll tell you about my big file transfer.
Well, yeah, I was visiting a friend who sadly is very poorly with stage 4 cancer after 2 Pfizer vaccines. So I was in Salford Royal last weekend visiting him, and I went to the canteen. Well, me and Lou went to the canteen because Lou wanted a drink before we went to the ward to visit him, and there was some sandwiches there. And let me see if I can find the photograph that I sent you, Debbie, because I may as well put it up there. If for people that have not seen this already, and I'm sure that some of our viewers will have seen this, but it's worthwhile. It's worthwhile showing it if nobody has. So let me just find this image. I do apologize.
Yeah, because it started a chain reaction, everybody, because when Ant showed me this, I then had to send some photographs to someone. There you go. Look at that.
So what this is saying is it's your carbon score, but it says of your daily dietary carbon allowance. It's the allowance word that staggers me. So I'm allowed so much food in my day, depending on who decides
depending on
that?
I'll tell you who decides it. The Fleming Policy Centre are going to decide it. So this is going to be what they call tradable equitable quotients, TECs they're called. And it's all coming from the Fleming Policy Centre, where you're going to get, and this is where it gets worrying, because adults will get a carbon allowance, and that will include their dietary allowance, but they'll maybe given 2 kilos of carbon a week. But if you've got 3 kids, or if you've even got 2 or one child, those children don't get a carbon allowance. So the parents will have to decide, do they take their children to school or do they feed them in the evening? It's that simple. But after you sent me that sandwich, because, you know, I don't really grab sandwiches anymore, and I don't really look at the packets. So I was fascinated that probably people are picking these up every day. They're ripping them open, eating the sandwich, binning the wrapping and binning the packaging, and they're not even realizing. So I was sending a friend some photographs of my garden, and I used Smash. You know, you have to send you big transfer files, and you find one that'll send it for you for free. So I sent it successfully and I was told, yay, we have sent your transfer successfully. And then it was about my data was with third parties. And I thought, well, where are my pictures of the garden? And then it said I'd used 12.5 whatever of carbon in my transfer. So even when it comes to your activity on the internet is all going to be under your carbon allowance and is going to be deducted from what you're given. And then if you run out of carbon allowance, you'll either be able to buy some from people that don't need as much as they've been given, or if you've got too much, then you can sell it to other people that need it. That's how it's going to work. But it's a big thing. Tradable equitable quotas. Have a check out on Fleming Policy Centre.
Debbie, you've got a question from Cheeky Sprite.
Dead cancer cells, can they be eliminated? But well, Cheeky Sprite, now you're going into the whole cancer domain. And what is cancer? And I think that's probably going to be a topic for maybe another day, because I've actually done a video on cancer. You might want to go and have a look at it on my YouTube, Word in Edgeways matron. Oh, look! Beautiful, beautiful. You might see my cat wandering around in a minute. But cancer, what is cancer? And why are people having so much success using fenbendazole and ivermectin with cancer? Are we thinking that maybe parasites could be involved in this? So I think the whole question surrounding cancer and all of this sudden diagnosis of turbo cancer and the involvement of the mRNA injections, not to mention all of this cancer testing and predicting. So we're going to give you a vaccine now, and Larry Ellison's going to be the one that makes it for you. He's going to make you, he's going to make you an AI cancer vaccine, mRNA cancer vaccine in 48 hours. He's going to make that for you so that if you're predisposed to cancer in 20, 30 years time, maybe you've got cancer in the family, you're going to get this cancer vaccine. So Cheeky Sprite, you can see what you've done. You've just like opened the floodgates, because it's such a big subject. With regards to radiotherapy, I'm not a fan, is all I'll say.
Just ending on the facial recognition while we can. I mentioned about the Merseyside police. I thought we'll just play this because it's
live facial recognition is coming to Merseyside and it's here to keep you safe.
The LFR van has cameras mounted on the top, the CCTV feed. They're fed into the van and matched against a LFR algorithm, which match faces on a predetermined watch list, which are wanted people. The police upload, alerts are generated, and then officers will go out to the van and detain people who are matching the watch list. The watch lists are taken from police databases, and they are people who are wanted by the courts, wanted for serious offences within Merseyside, but also people who may be vulnerable and need protection.
This is a tool that should not be feared by the public, and actually is one that really ensures public safety. If it is that you're not on a watch list, the minute you walk through a live facial recognition zone, your face will be mapped to see whether you match with that watch list, and if you don't, that information is deleted straight away.
Yeah.
All our deployments we publish online in advance of our deployments. The deployments will look like these vans. High visibility police officers will be in your area. The vans are marked up of the LFR operation. Likewise, we'll be putting out signage and giving out leaflets. If you see us out and about in the day, come and engage with us, speak to us. We'll explain how the technology works and we'll explain how it's keeping you safe.
Like you say,
well, at least he could speak English, Anne. At least he could speak English.
Well, that's true. But, you know, like you said, though, he's keeping us safe. Just to go back to Cheeky Sprite, because she has put some very important stuff on there for you, Debbie.
So his son has just been told after 12-hour operation to remove tumour that he's got dead cells left in his aorta. Radiotherapy is what they're offering. Cheeky Sprite, can you send out, he's had 3 blood transfusions. I'm so sorry to hear this. Cheeky Sprite, can you put in a message to Ant and let us know how to contact you? Because there's a couple of people that I would like to speak to on this, because it's a bit above my pay grade and I wouldn't want to give you some information that's not absolutely spot on, but I do know a few people that would be able to help. So if you could reach out to Ant, and I'll try to get an answer for you as soon as possible. And I'm just so sorry.
I'm just putting put my email address in the chat there, Cheeky Sprite. So it's ant@becomingstellify.co.uk.
And then, Anne, if you just forward me
I will.
Cheeky
I'll send
Surprise
that over
message.
to you.
Yeah, and I'll try and get some information for you.
Joey Barton got in trouble for some hurty words. Did you see that?
I saw the judge, and I actually I was so horrified at what the judge had said.
Let's play the judge, because I think it's important to play the judge.
Play the judge.
Play the judge. Did he have a jury?
No.
Given the gravity, persistence and impact of this offending, I have no doubt that neither a fine alone nor a community order can be justified, and that the custody threshold is crossed. There will be concurrent terms of imprisonment for each of these associated offences, the sentences for each reflecting your overall offending and recognising the principle of totality. However, applying the imposition guideline and carrying out the required balancing exercise, I'm satisfied that it's not necessary for those custodial terms to be served immediately. In light of the steps you have taken, I am persuaded that there is some prospect of rehabilitation, that an immediate custodial sentence is not required to protect either the public or the victims, and that a suspended sentence order may itself operate as a deterrent against any future offending by you. For each of these offences, I impose a suspended sentence order of 18 months duration. On counts 2 and 4, the racially aggravated offences, there will be custodial terms of 6 months, and on counts 6, 8, 9, and 10, custodial terms of 4 months, all such terms to run concurrently, and all suspended for a period of 18 months. If during that 18-month period you commit any further offence, whether or not of the same type, you will be brought back before the court, and it is likely that you will be required to serve some or all of that total 6-month period. That, of course, is not an end of the matter. For the next 12 months, you will be subject to a rehabilitation activity requirement of up to 20 days, and you are required to complete 200 hours of unpaid work in the community.
Well, some hurty words as well.
Sit up, my lad. Sit up. For goodness sake. The way that he was sitting, the way that he was speaking, his attitude, it stank, quite frankly. I suggest that whoever he is, that judge, he looks back and he watches himself. Just watch himself, because his whole persona, it was I don't really care. He was sort of talking a bit like this. He was slouching. It was sloppy, my lad. Sloppy. You would expect us to go into your courtroom and to stand up when you walk in the room. You would expect us to respect your position. Don't sit there like that and don't speak in that tone. It is disrespectful, especially in a court of law. Rant over. I was furious with that judge. Furious. Rehabilitation, exactly. Rehabilitation. Hurty words. Does he believe? Do you think he believed himself? Do you think when he was actually delivering that he actually believed it, or do you think he was just so horrified that actually the words were planted and he didn't believe them, which is kind of explained his attitude there? I can't work it out.
I don't know. I mean, what gets me is that I think it's roughly the same sentence as what Hugh Edwards got.
Hugh Edwards is coming back. Apparently, he's making.
I believe so.
A comeback to the BBC.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. You can if you're in the right club, you're all right, aren't you?
Oh, we'll be seeing repeats of Jim Will Fix It soon.
Well, they may as bloody well, aren't they?
Why not? Why not? I mean, the paedophiles. You know, that these paedophiles, they're absolutely everywhere. You know, we talk about Jimmy Savile, but let's not forget, and I keep trying to remind everybody, that Jimmy Savile, apparently he was the proposal for Harry's godfather, and we've already got Lawrence Vanderpost, now deceased, who is a paedophile, still knighted. So where you got Jimmy Savile got absolutely everything stripped. Sir Lawrence Vanderpost, who is Prince William's godfather, is a paedophile. End of. There is no ifs or buts. It's all well documented. He impregnated a British girl at the age of when she was 14. So he was Prince William's and is Prince William's godfather, and he's a paedophile. What more can I say? Mountbatten. I mean, they're just surrounded. And yet somebody like Joey Barton, a footballer, who talks, he gets all of that community. What are they trying to say here? What are they trying to achieve? It's a plan. It's an absolute plan. And these are all civil offences, let's not forget. They were never criminal offences. They would never have been dealt with criminal offences in the past.
What's wrong? I get plenty of hurty words thrown at me. What do I do? You know, do I go to the police every time?
No, you're meant to report someone to prevent. You're meant to snitch them in on prevent.
You see, this is what happens when the social crediting comes in, though, you see, and an AI judge is involved, and your money is tied directly by digital means. You know, you won't need that. You'll just get reprimanded by AI, and you'll be dealt with, and you won't be able to leave your home or book your taxi or whatever you want to do, you know, because you've said a few hurty words on social media. You know,
and your fine will be automatically deducted because they'll have a route into your bank account. They'll have access into your bank account. So they'll already deduct your fine or your penalty, whether you can afford it or not, because you will be guilty until you're proven innocent.
Of course. Well, that's what the whole point of this design. You're guilty before you're proven. It's outrageous. And this world, like you're saying about paedophiles, Debbie, this world, unfortunately, is run by psychopaths and paedophiles.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. We are being run by a gang of organised criminals. You know, this is exactly what you've said. It's satanic. It's wicked. It's absolutely wicked.
It really is. It's the world's completely insane. It's an insane asylum. However, in speaking of social media, in Australia, they've banned social media for kids.
Australian families are taking back power from these big tech companies, and they're asserting the right of kids to be kids and for parents to have greater peace of mind. This is the day when Australian families are taking back power from these big tech companies, and they're asserting the right of kids to be kids and for parents to have greater peace of mind. This is the day when Australian families are taking back.
So, I mean, what happens to parents parenting their kids?
What happened to climbing an apple tree, going out for a walk, walking the dog, playing football, going out with your mates? What's happened to all of that? It seems to have been gone. And it, you know, all of this whole agenda, it's never been about to protect the children. It's never been about that. It's always been about to survey and keep an eye on what we're doing and how it's nanny state yet again. And you know, I did an interesting, well, I don't think it's gone out yet, actually, but it's one of my stories on 7/7 where they're using iPads deliberately to give to children in hospitals to distract them. So if they're a burns victim, for example, they're giving a child an iPad rather than mummy or somebody close sitting down next to the bed with a storybook, holding their hand, reassuring them. No, medical professionals are giving them iPads. So I don't know what Australia are up to, because clearly everywhere else we seem to be encouraging our children to be indoctrinated either through gaming or iPads or whatever it is. But this has got nothing to do with keeping children safe at the end of the day.
Not at all. And you can guarantee kids will find a way around it anyway.
Of course they will. Of course they will. Do you know what? The kids are so much brighter than the parents most of the time, because they've been brought up on these devices, and we're having to struggle to try to get to know what I have to ask my kids all the time. How do I do that? I don't know what to do. I'm stuck all the time, but they always know because they're used to it, because they've been brought up with this technology.
Well, kids were making a little bit of a
young e-bike riders were captured on camera
rebellion
this morning,
on
overtaking
bikes.
multiple lanes of traffic in the CBD. You can see in these clips obtained by 9 News, there's about 40 riders in a convoy weaving through traffic on Adelaide Street. drivers forced to stop and give way to the large and unpredictable group just before midday. They were seen overtaking cars and running red lights near police headquarters in the city. Some bikes appearing to be the electric motorcycles, which are illegal to be ridden on roads in Queensland. School holidays are already underway for some schools in Brisbane, with this type of activity becoming more frequent on our streets. Police say they have been made aware of the group and inquiries are ongoing.
Oh my goodness. I mean, do you know they've banned EV scooters from many trains? Great Western have banned them because they're so dangerous. I mean, all these kids and youngsters riding these they're literally sitting on a lithium battery. I'm not quite sure I would want any of my kids, because I keep saying no to electric bikes, no to all of this stuff. But the thing is, you provide them, people will buy them. It's as simple as.
They will, of course they will. Of course they will. But everyone wants a new fad, don't they?
Oh, that's just it.
Everyone wants a new upgrade.
But I was the same. Do you know what? When I was a junior staff nurse, no, actually I was a senior staff nurse at Bart's, our nursing auxiliary, and he was absolutely amazing. I love nursing auxiliaries and state-enrolled nurses. But anyway, one day Edward came in and he had a bright yellow Sony Walkman, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I wanted that Sony Walkman because it was the newest tech. I couldn't believe that I could walk around and listen to music. It was auto reverse, it was amazing. So I get that people will want all the new tech and all the new fads, but at what expense? And I don't mean financial expense, I mean at what freedom expense is it going to have on you?
Indeed, and our freedom is
buses have been catching light. I
Yeah.
just saw a message there saying, buses have been catching light. And also, you think about it, and that's another story with the train, because the whole train stock is, we can't fly. Yeah, we can't fly a Union flag outside our homes, but the trains are all going to be covered in Union Jacks and red, white, and blue. But the trains, they are now sealed rolling stock. So I remember going on holiday, and I could put the window down. You used to lean out to open the door. But now these trains, they're literally sealed. So if something, an electric bike, if that goes on fire and you're in a sealed train, what happens?
I know.
Excuse me.
I know, Debbie. And it's like it's like being in a microwave oven if you're driving around in these electric vehicles.
Yeah. The boiling frog, quite literally.
Quite literally.
Quite literally.
I know we haven't got particularly long left, so I thought we'd maybe have a couple of videos and we can end on a nice one if we can put that out. But let's Sam Altman, which is he's the Chat GPT guy, isn't he? He's the the AI guy, and he announced that he can't imagine figuring out how to raise a newborn without Chat GPT. Amazing.
And do you use Chat GPT when raising your baby?
I do. I mean, I feel kind of bad about it because we have this like genius level at everything intelligence sitting there like waiting to unravel the mysteries of humanity. And I'm like, why does my kid stop dropping his pizza on the floor and laughing? Like, And so I feel like I'm not asking a good enough question, but it is, I cannot imagine having gone through like figuring out how to raise a newborn without ChatGPT. Clearly people did it for a long time, no problem.
Yes.
But so I know it's clearly was possible.
Yes, it was possible.
But I have relied on it so much.
And do you use ChatGPT?
I mean, it's so disgusting. It's so horrifying. While you hear the audience laughing, I don't think that's funny. I think, Sam Altman, you are seriously not right in the head if you're having to consult ChatGPT to bring up your child.
Speaking of not right in the head, what do the Alex Karp video?
Oh, what was he on?
Well, let's put that on if nobody's seen
What is
this.
the biggest problem in this culture? I'll tell you the biggest problem. No one believes the institutions are credible. And why don't they believe and I struggle to believe they're credible too, because these business leaders make completely stupid decisions. And they get bailed out. A year later, they're getting huge bonuses. And what do the American people get? Nothing. And that's a huge problem. Like if you make, so I think the real version is like, I made a lot of decisions when we began talking, annoying each other 10 years ago. Hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago, or more. When I made you know this, every decision Palantir made, FDAs, going public, building products, enterprise, large data sets, going to government, acknowledging American superiority, being pro-meritocracy, launching an AI platform, calling into question that AI models would actually be able to perform without orchestration. Every single one, our ontology, every single one of those was viewed as stupid. You know what I actually have grown to appreciate about capitalism? All the people who made the right decisions went broke, are going out of business, or now have to copy us. Microsoft wants ontology. Everyone wants to do FDEs. Everyone basically copies me and Palantir.
And we're supposed to be trusting ourselves and our kids' futures with these tech weirdos. Sorry.
Do you know that man has got all of your NHS data in his hands?
I know.
Fact.
Frightening, isn't it? Frightening. Shall we end on a nice one though,
Let's
Debbie?
do
And then
it.
we'll
Especially with where you're going tomorrow. And good luck. Good luck.
Thank
and
you.
everyone. Good on you, everyone.
And thank you everyone that's come and joined us on the chat today. And if anyone's in London tomorrow, come and say hi. I'd love to meet you. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day, and hopefully we can get to where Bulgaria got the other day, which is
let's do it.
Very special. And we'll see you all next Friday.